Bub's concession stand. However, they are unknowingly bringing Homestar directly to the source of his problems. Upon arrival at Bub's concession stand, they found Bub snoozing in his rocking chair, which was behind the counter of his stand. He awoke to find Strong Bad in an alert situation and Pom Pom in a fabulous pink bathrobe with a furious blue waist strap. "Bubs, we need your help immediately," Strong Bad yelled. Bubs rubbed his head, confused. Pom Pom and Strong Bad were helping Homestar out of the gremlin, and as soon as Homestar realized he was at Bub's concession stand with Bubs behind the counter, he let out a blood-curdling scream heard all the way around to the Netherlands, where Strong Bad was enjoying a purple fusion down at the local cafe. "Get me out of here! I can't be here! I'm in danger!" Homestar screamed at the top of his lungs. He was thrashing around from Pom Pom's grip, his teeth were clenched and his eyes were shut. "What's happened to him?" Bubs lied, because he knew exactly what was wrong with him. Bubs got up from his rocking chair and backed up against the wall. He began to sweat and panic furiously. "I have no idea, dude. I found him at the stick all beat up and stuff," Strong Bad replied. Just give him to me. I'll make sure he calms down," Bub suggested in a very helpful tone. "I'm not so sure about that, Bub," Strong Bad responded. "He wasn't like this until we got here. I think we should take him home." "No, don't. I know just the thing that can fix him up. It's quick and easy." "Hey, Pom Pom, you think maybe Marzipan can help Homestar? I think we should go to her house," Strong Bad recommended. "No, you can't. I won't let you," Bub screamed, trying to grab Strong Bad from getting into the gremlin. Strong Bad broke free of his grip. "What's your problem, man?" Marzipan's out of town. She won't be at her house." "Nope, she's in the Netherlands with Strong Bad," Bubs croaked, hoping to make them forget of his outburst. "Oh, okay, I guess all he needs is to get home and rest." "I still don't know what's wrong with him, though," Strong Bad said. And with that, Pom Pom and Strong Bad helped Homestar back into the gremlin and drove off into the direction of Homestar's house. Bubs fell back into his chair. Right then he knew he regretted not killing Homestar when he had the chance. He knew that his fatal decision is going to bite him right back in the tweeze. He grabbed a pair of handcuffs from the discount basket. Then he pulled out his shotgun, then one he hid under his counter in case of an emergency. It reminded him of the time he put out the copy. His shotgun still had pieces of glass in it from that day. The glass fell from the shotgun onto the floor, further breaking it into a finer powder. The shotgun still had a faint scent of gentle morning breeze vanilla, the same scent Marzipan's candle smelled of. It reminded him of how that fateful evening went down. Bubs had always been living a stressful lifestyle, with his doomed business going down the toilet and his strained relationships with the lady types not working at all. He had given up. He didn't care anymore. He let his sanity go down the drain. God damn it, Salad. Bubs remembered how he left his shotgun on Marzipan's furious blue coach, heading directly upstairs where she was. He had an evil smirk on his face as he inched up the stairs. Every footstep of his creaked. He entered the room, smiling creepily at Marzipan. Marzipan looked up from her book with a puzzled expression. He sat himself awfully close to her. "Hey, Bubs, how did you get in my house?" Marzipan asked, completely confused. The front door was open," Bubs replied in a very sensual tone. "Well, I was just reading my Gardening and Planting Monthly, my 1565th edition. Did you need something? I'm expecting Homestar later. He's probably wanting a tall glass of melonast." Marzipan realized how close Bubs truly was to her. She awkwardly inched herself away from him and began reading her magazine again. Marzipan was still confused. "So, is there anything you want?" "Yes," Bubs responded. "I want you to bend over." Marzipan jumped up from the bed. "Excuse me, I think it's about time for you to leave." This angered Bubs. He stomped over to the door, slammed it, and locked it. He cracked his knuckles and tried to grab Marzipan, but he missed. She dashed over to her bedside table, opened the drawer, and got out a pepper spray from her purse. She aimed firmly at Bubs' eyes, but that angered him, so he slapped her so hard. She flew across the bed and hit her head against the wall. At this point, the pepper spray is all the way over by the door, so Bubs picks it up and throws it out the window. At this point, he was salivating all over Marzipan's dress to the point it was a sloppy, wet cloth. He pulled out his knife and cut a clean gash in her dress. However, his lava only got her underclothing wet. After a few minutes of creative salivating, Marzipan was a drippy, slimy mess. "So, Marzipan, protection or no protection?" Bubs inquired. Nothing, you freak. Get away from me, Marzipan screamed. No protection? Perfect, Bubs responded with a devilish smile. He threw the rubbers right out of the window. Marzipan realized the huge mistake she just made, and she began to thrash around. She tried to make a dash for it, but when she got to the door, she could not get to the lock undone. Bubs smacked her clean across the face, and she collapsed onto the bed. He pulled out the duct tape from his pocket and taped her mouth clean shut. He then got his knife and tore off the rest of her clothing and threw it out of the window. He then taped the front of her legs to back and neck and threw her on the floor. He went upstairs, got his shotgun, and went back to the kitchen. He picked up a spoon, some kosher Epsom salt, and a pack of lemons. As he went back upstairs, the simple thought of the fun he was going to have made him salivate even more. He picked up Marzipan, who was still tied together, and threw her on the floor again. Act like a snail, you dirty, filthy, rotten snail. Be a disgusting, slimy snail and slither here or I'll blow your brains out. He cocked his shotgun and aimed it at her face. Marzipan was panicking, but she didn't know what to do. She obeyed his commands and slowly inched herself like a snail towards Bubs. Make a snail noise, you filthy snail, Bubs exclaimed proudly. Marzipan did her best to make a bubbling, frothy mess sound similar to slime oozing from holes. This made Bubs ooze from his hole. Eat my oozy hole, you snail. Eat it all up, Bubs exclaimed enthusiastically. He began to pour kosher salt onto Marzipan, only fueling his desire that she is a snail. Marzipan obeyed and began to eat the ooze from his hole, and she began to cry uncontrollably. This made Bubs ooze even more, to the point where he got down and began licking up her tears. God fucking damn it, Salad. This made Bubs excited, so he began to unbuckle his pants and let them slide to the floor. This let his package breathe, for it was starved for so long. It immediately began to swell into a pulsating, throbbing monster. Please, please don't, it's too big, it simply won't work, Marzipan cried out in anguish. Unfortunately, Bubs didn't listen. He realized that it was very, very tight, but he was determined to get in. He pushed and pushed and pushed, and it finally gave way. This isn't awfully loose for someone in a relationship to Homestar, Bubs questioned. Bubs was getting way too excited. By this point, the process was going very fast due to the amount of saliva all over the both of them. Bubs pushed with enthusiastic force, making her scream so loud Strong Matt heard all the way from the Netherlands, where he was enjoying a tropical blue. Bubs used his package to pull his shirt off, and then he threw it onto the ground. He then got his knife and used it to cut the remaining clothing from Marzipan. By now she was completely soaked in his saliva. His eyes pulsed and he let out a terrifying roar as he pounced onto Marzipan. He lifted her up and put her on his head. Pretend you are my hat, Bubs exclaimed exorbitantly. He began spinning her around on his head, and at that point he realized he could not take it anymore. He grabbed the lemons and chopped them in half. He then salivated all over the lemons and placed them in her eyes. She began to scream in agony, and it was so loud Bubs retaped her mouth shut. Bubs was throbbing in excitement, pulsating in pleasure, and irradiated with ecstasy. His heart rate was at the pace of a slow drum in a bass song. The penultimate occurrence was about to happen. He could not hold it in any longer, and with that he let out the biggest roar, the loudest roar, all the way across the Netherlands, where Strong Bad was enjoying a frosted purple meltdown. The room was covered in Bubs' fluids. It was a mixture of saliva and occurrence. The room began to stink, and the floor was incredibly sticky, although it had a faint lemon scent to it because Bubs had used lemons in the process. Bubs was beginning to lower his heart rate. He let out a deep, fast moans as he continued to pump fluid all over the room. His saliva was beginning to waterfall, and a deep puddle began to emerge from the floor. After 10 minutes of relaxing, he got up and looked at the work he had accomplished. Marzipan was covered in tears, although it might just be saliva. Her face was bruised and swollen, and her mouth was trembling. He ripped the duct tape from her mouth to hear what she had to say. At this instant, her cell phone began to ring profusely. Bubs grabbed it and saw Homestar was calling. He answered it, but he did his best to be absolutely silent. Hey Marzipan, I'm just calling to tell you to get that tall glass of melananced, because I'm coming over, Homestar said over the phone. Bubs closed it and stared at Marzipan. He knew Homestar would be over any minute. He had to finish what he started. He picked up his shotgun, aimed it right between her eyes. "Please, say your last words," Bubs said solemnly. She wouldn't stop crying. He waited a good minute before he got impatient, and he shut his eyes, looked away, and nervously pulled the trigger. His mind went blank, and when he recovered from the shot, he was covered in bits of marzipan. He let out a tremendous cry to the sky and waited another minute to let his mind relax. He took a very quick shower and waited for Homestar to get there. He was still energetic, so he knew what he had to do to Homestar. He cracked his knuckles and heard the front door open. Strong Bad tapped Bubs on the shoulder. He then realized he was no longer in his flashback. Bubs, what were you doing right then?" Strong Bad questioned. "Oh, well, I need a sandwich. It's getting late and I need to have dinner with Homestar in Strong Mad's room. He's out of town, you know," Strong Sad said. Strong Sad, Strong Mad. Oh, no, it is Strong Sad. I'm retarded. Bubs looked down and pulled a sandwich from underneath the counter. He handed it to Strong Sad. "On the house," Bubs said monotonously. "Thanks, Bubs. Hey, maybe you want to join us tonight?" Strong Sad asked. "No, thanks, man. I have some business with Homestar tonight," Bubs replied. And with that, Strong Sad left. When he was out of sight, Bubs grabbed his baseball bat and headed towards Homestar's house. He had some unfinished business to attend to. To be continued? Okay, my reviews here, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5 story, great character build up. I don't think I've ever heard much better in my life. Alright, couldn't be much better. There we go.